Hey guys, it's Kayla from KJ and Her Books and welcome back to another video.
Curious butterflies.
You mean bread and butterflies?
Oh, yes, of course.
I apologise if you can hear banging in the background because this is now apparently the best moment for my neighbours to start banging things around. I honestly don't know what's happening outside, but it's really loud and it keeps interrupting my video. I don't know if you can hear it as loud as I can, but we're just going to try and get through it today because it is the end of July and I really need to get this video up. So it is again time for another edition of Cards Against Books, which is my TBR game based on the card game Cards Against Humanity. If you want to know what this game is all about, I will leave the link down below to the playlist where I have my previous videos and you can see how it all works. But basically I pick 2 black cards, 2 white cards, and I choose which option I'm going to go with for which book might suit those prompts better. So let's just get into it. So that first round was a fantasy book that is over 500 pages and I had the perfect one in mind, which is A Kingdom of Flesh and Fire by Jennifer L. Armentrout. This is the second book in the From Blood and Ash series, which I started reading. I read From Blood and Ash last month and I absolutely loved it so much. It was so damn good, so much better than I had expected it would be, and the romance was very, very swoon worthy. So I loved it and I am very excited to read the second book. From what I've seen on Goodreads, the physical book is around about 630 or 50 pages. I can't quite remember. It's over 600 pages, so it'll fit this prompt perfectly. So this series follows Poppy, who is a maiden, and that basically means that she is untouchable to everyone. She cannot be spoken to or touched or anything like that unless somebody already has permission or the authority to speak to her. But she is like a very protected person. She's got to constantly wear a veil wherever she goes because she is in preparation for her ascension, which means that she will join the ascended and become one with the gods in a way. That's like the best way I can really explain that. It's all to do with the gods and how the gods perceive her, and she doesn't want to upset these gods. But there is a whole lot more to that. There's a lot of supernatural creatures, there's a lot of romance, there's a lot of graphic stuff that happens, and oh my god, it's just brilliant, and it's exactly what I've been in the mood to read because it's got the perfect amount of fantasy and romance and magic, and I'm just in love. So I'm really excited to read the second book. So the next prompt that I had was to phone a friend for a recommendation of a book that will probably make me cry. So for this one, the friend that I had to give me this recommendation is my lovely friend Paige from Pages with Paige, and she gave me this fantastic recommendation. So we did chat through Messenger. I didn't call her just because I'm a little bit stretched for time this time again, obviously.
Like, I'm filming right now. This is what's currently on display. Will make you cry. Know My Name, My Dark Vanessa. Practically any of these will make you cry. Female of the Species fucking made me bawl my fucking ass out.
But basically she was having a look through my Goodreads and asked how up to date it was. She also said she doesn't read happy books, which is probably good that I asked her for this particular recommendation because she had quite a few choices to go through. But she said, based off of my Goodreads, Where the Crawdad Sings might be a tear-jerker, which is this one right here by Delia Owens. I've heard that this book is absolutely fantastic, but for some reason I have not picked it up. I actually went down and bought it this afternoon after work because I wanted to have the physical copy of it because I've wanted it for a while. But from what I've heard, it's really, really good, and it does sound like something that I would enjoy and probably be very, 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 very tearful at. For years, rumours of the Marsh Girl have haunted Barkley Cove, a quiet town on the North Carolina coast. So in late 1969, when handsome Chase Andrews is found dead, the locals immediately suspect Kaya Clark, the so-called Marsh Girl. But Kaya is not what they say. Sensitive and intelligent, she has survived for years alone in the marsh that she calls home, finding friends in the gulls and lessons in the sand. Then the time comes when she yearns to be loved. When two young men from town become intrigued by her wild beauty, Kaya opens herself to a new life until the unthinkable happens. This sounds right up my alley. It sounds heartbreaking. It's clearly historical fiction, I think. I'm assuming it is. I'm really looking forward to reading it, so thank you, Paige, for the recommendation. This next one is a romance that has a title that's 3 words or less, and another series that I started last month. I am up to the 3rd book in, and I'm very excited to read this one, and that's Booted by Pam Godwin. I started reading Knotted last month, and then I finished that like straight away, and then I read the 2nd book, which is Buckled, and now I am super excited for the 3rd one. Buckled was my favorite book in the series so far. I am just having such a good time reading them. I love the characters, I love the romances, I love the story. Pam Godwin honestly is a fantastic author, and she's my new favorite romance author, I think, now. Like, she's just so good. So this series is a dark cowboy romance. So each book follows a different romance, but within like the same group of people. The first book, Knotted, follows Connor and Jake. Connor and Jake are like young loves. They are together when they're pretty much since they knew each other, and they're about 16 or 17 when they finally decide to have sex for the first time. And as they're getting prepared and they're getting very excited to do this thing that they've been waiting for so long, Connor ends up getting assaulted brutally, and this sets the tone for not just the series, not just the book, but the series as a whole. Very dark. It is very graphic, so there's massive trigger warnings for those. If you don't like dark romances, definitely steer clear from this because it's dark. But the first book follows Connor and Jake's love story from that beginning and all the events that happen afterwards. And then we follow in the 2nd book is Jake's brother Jarrett and his romance with Maybe. And then the 3rd one is Raina and Connor's brother Lorne. So it follows 3 different couples, but I'm just very excited to read the 3rd one. So I can't really give too much more about this because I don't want to spoil anything for you if this sounds like a series that you might enjoy reading. But like I said, it's a dark romance, but I love everything about it. Like, I love the characters and I love the atmosphere as well. It makes me want to listen to more country music, which I do, but I've added so much more to my country music playlist. But I'm going to be reading Booted. The next one is a young adult that was gifted to me, so I'm going with Hunted by PC and Kristen Cast. I believe this is the 5th book in the House of Night series, which I've mentioned before. We are doing a read-along for this particular series. I've already read this. My co-host Bianca has already read this, but we want to reread it because it's been so long since we've read the series. So we're currently up to the 5th one. I haven't read the 4th one yet, but I'm going to because that's the next one that I'm reading. But this one is the book for August. And I've mentioned this quite a few times already, but House of Night series follows a school for vampires, very similar to Vampire Academy, but there's a lot of things very different, and the vampires there's a different sort of take on the vampires and the way that they work and the way that they act. It's you know, a typical high school vampire series, but I'm really enjoying the reread and I'm looking forward to reading this one. I was gifted a couple of these back when they first came out, so that's why I'm including this in the gifted, because there's not a lot of YA on my shelves that I haven't read that have been gifted to me. A lot of the things that have been gifted to me are not YA. So this was the closest thing I could think of, which is perfect because I needed to put this on my TBR. And the last one is a middle grade that is an unpopular opinion. So for this one, I just had to put this on my TBR, and that is The Castle of Tangled Magic by Sophie Anderson. I've talked about this series before. I absolutely love it. It's so much fun. It's so whimsical. And the reason I've picked this for the unpopular opinion is, I'm stretching here probably because there's not really an unpopular opinion I can think about for this series or this author, but middle grade in general, that a lot of people assume that you shouldn't read middle grade, or you can't read middle grade if you're not of that age group. But I think if it's something that you enjoy and you really enjoy the story, go nuts, go read whatever the hell you want to read. So that's my unpopular opinion there, that people think that middle grade isn't for older people. So I'm picking this. I'm very excited to read this. This is the third book in this particular series. The first book is The House of Chicken Legs. The second book is The Girl Who Speaks Bear, and this is the third book. I know I'm going to adore it, and I am so excited. I think this is going to be the perfect way to end the winter season. There we go, guys. Those are my 5 books for my TBR in August. I don't think I really had any additional books to add either. And of course, you can't see the 2 ebooks because Kingdom of Flesh and Fire and Booted are ebooks. But that's my 5 books for August. I'm very excited to read them. I think I have, again, a nice mix of genres, and I've just been really enjoying the books that I've read lately. So I'm looking forward to reading these, and thank you again, Paige, for the recommendation of this one. So yes, thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed that. Let me know if you've read any of these books or if you intend to read any of these books anytime soon, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!